Hi, this is Debbie from Project 39. Today I'm going to show you how I make cards without using card sketches and how to use up scraps at the same time. So you're going to start with a paper pad, and since it's fall, I'm going to start with a fall paper pad. So I'm going to take my paper and cut down maybe 2/3 of it to put on the card bases. And since I'm using 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 cards, I'm going to cut down to put on the first layer to put down at 4 1/8 and 5 3/8. So I'm going to go ahead and off camera cut down a bunch of paper so I can put on the card bases. So I'll come right back. All right, so I've cut down all of my patterned paper to fit on card bases, and you're going to want some to go lengthwise, some to go horizontal. You know, just mix it up. Whatever you have, whatever you want, whatever gives you the most pieces out of a piece of paper. I'm sure there's a science to it, but I just cut paper and saved the scraps because that's a big part of what we're going to do. So then I'm going to just take and make a bunch of card bases. I forgot to mention, you can also use plain paper. So if you have some plain cardstock that coordinates with what you have, this one doesn't really coordinate that well, but go ahead and put that down onto the card bases. So what you're going to do is just fill up as many card bases as possible. All right, and then you're going to take the scraps and cut them down so they're going to fit on the card. So you don't want any that are longer than 5 3/8 or taller than 4 1/4, or vice versa, depending on if you're going to go horizontal or not. So go ahead and cut down your pieces. When you're done with that, what I do is take whatever I use for the base card. So I used white cardstock, so I'm going to take the base cardstock here, and I just lay down the pieces, tape or glue them down in such a way that you can get them all on here with enough of a border on all of the pieces, so you're making good use of space. So like if you had a small piece, you could put a small piece here. So go ahead and use your ATG, use your glitter glue, whatever adhesive you use, and put them on here. And then you're going to go to the paper cutter and cut. So there's about 1/8 of an inch on each side of the pieces. So we take a piece and put a border on it. I like to have matting around all of my layers. I just think it makes the cards look more cohesive, but that is entirely up to you. Some people don't want to or don't need to, so whatever works for you. So then I go ahead and put everything in piles and work from there, and I'll show you what's next. All right, so now I've adhered the pattern paper onto the card bases, and you could go landscape horizontal. You've noticed most of these could go either way. This one, of course, could not go that way, so we'll just go with that. And then I take some of the pieces that I've cut and I start layering them onto the card bases. Try to figure out which would be best. So I sort of like that there. Maybe go with this. That looks nice there. So that looks atrocious there, so I wouldn't do that. And I sort of would prefer the green with the pumpkins. That sort of looks nice. And that could be nice. This has an orange. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Anyhow, take a look and see what's the best way of using up the pieces you have left to make some nice designs. And then keep going. So I have some smaller pieces. You could layer it on top of there. You could go across. This one actually looks nice below it. Knowing, of course, that I can trim it later, you could go diagonal if if that looks good to you. I prefer going straight like that. And keep going. And then you'll take your sentiment. So some of them were cut apart from the kits. And you can just put sentiment right straight on the card. I mean, like that looks fabulous just the way it is. That's missing something, but it looks good. I don't know about that. Maybe like that, but actually I would prefer if we do something like this, maybe. Just getting there. Anyhow, you get the idea. There also are some cut aparts that you can get. So these came from Joann's. It was in their open stock paper. The colors match fabulously with all these fall things, and they make cute little cards. You know, happy birthday. Look at that, thanks. And you also could use your stamps and put a sentiment on with stamps. So you'll keep doing that until you've gotten layouts that you like, and then cut and adhere. And then if you have any embellishments, so I had this little kit from Pebbles, and this has little pumpkin, so you could go like that and go embellish after all is said and done. I don't know, he's sort of cute. Anyhow, you get the idea. So in this way, all right, so that's not a great design. But in this way, you really didn't need a card sketch. But if you follow the basics, a layer for the card base, 1 or 2 layers, in this case with a border that you put on the card, and then something with a sentiment or a focal point, and then go ahead and add something extra, a little pizzazz, a little wow. So that could either be just an embellishment. It could be, in this case I had a wood piece in my kit. So a wood piece, you could use maybe some pearls. You know, just take a look at what you have in your stash and see what you could do. It's all about cohesiveness, and to do that you want to make sure the colors first and foremost go together. This is probably using 3 different kits. I don't remember where this Happy Thanksgiving came from. I don't think it came from the Fall is in the Air. Oh, no, I take it back. It is. It is in Fall is in the Air, which is why it looks good. But as long as the colors are good, this is not from Fall is in the Air, I can tell you that. Like this doesn't come from Fall is in the Air, but the color is almost perfect. And then I would probably take some diamond glaze and maybe add some dimension to the flowers there, or maybe some dimension to the little tie he's got on. So you can just go ahead and do that. They're not the most intricate cards, but these I'm going to donate to either a nursing home or Cards for Soldiers. And you want to keep them flat in that case if they're going to be sent overseas. So just take a look at it that way and see what you can make with your stash. The smaller the scraps, the more difficult it is going to be finding places for it. But you can do this. Well, I'm going to go ahead and finish these, and then I'll show you some of the cards I've made when I'm done. And I'm going to show you a quick run through of some of the cards that I made. I'm not going to go through every single one, but a couple of details. These are the Nouveau Crystal Glaze drops, and I did some crystal glaze on there, so you can see it adds a little bit of dimension to it. Crystal glaze on the eyeballs of the owl. So you see I took the card base, put it on a matted layer. This was obviously using cut apart, And then just by adding that dimensional sticker, it added some wow. So again, I've shown you that one before. Sticker. Wow, without the sticker it was okay. But once you put on the sticker, it just sort of gave you a focal point on something to look at. These are dimensional. I changed my mind and decided to go with a little bit of dimension on that. Just because it needed something, and since I'm going to be hand delivering these, it won't be a big deal. I forgot to tell you to add stickers. So that's stickers from the sticker sheet of this paper collection, and it adds a lot. There's that. He's so cute. Love the owls. I mean, that's simple, but it's a cute little design, right? And there's I changed it to that small pumpkin sticker. Not my favorite, but it'll do. I mean, I'm nuts about you. That makes a lot of sense, but it just was too busy. These I was using, I had some embossed paper. So now the inside is embossed. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But again, using up paper, wanted to be done. Not a great cohesive design, but it'll work. I feel like the closer I came to the end of the paper, the worse my designs came. I mean, like, that's terrible. And you know why? Because there's two plain papers next to each other, and there is not a matted piece of card on here. And I think that bothers me. I think if it was matted, it would add something to it. Otherwise, it just looks, and the color's not exact. But again, But there we go. I got about 55 cards all told. I have a little bit more paper to go. I mean, not a heck of a lot. That I just might save for another time. A couple of small pieces. But besides that, that is my formula for not using card sketches and getting some cards done with your paper. Give it a try. I mean, use a paper pad that you've got everything. You've got some background paper. You've got some detailed paper. Get something that has sentiments. And again, whether you use stamps or these cut aparts or whatever, and then add something for some pizzazz, some wow to each card, just some different elements, crystal glaze. You know, just every card needs a little bit of pow. On this card, the leaves themselves around the sentiment really added to it. So I didn't need to do anything besides that. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching.